Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, good morning. I bring you House Bill 1322. LC number is LC 550240. This is a department bill, one of three this session that addresses hemp. And to quickly summarize, there's four primary components to the bill. Component one includes packaging restrictions for hemp and specifically requires a couple of things for hemp product packaging. And that is, it must be composed of material designed to minimize exposure to light and mitigate exposure to high temperatures. Is not attractive to children. Is not a look-alike product, and is tamper evident and child resistant. All right. Component two is on the advertising side. It includes advertising restrictions on packaging and specifically targets and prohibits advertising that is attractive to children, and also any advertising on packaging that misrepresents itself as low THC oil. Component three includes retail store restrictions to include the prohibition of selling or distributing consumable hemp products if the store is located less than 1,000 feet from a school, and retail stores would also be prohibited from advertising themselves as a dispensary or seller of low THC oil. Finally, component four conforms state law to mirror the federal legal limit for Delta 9 THC concentration measurement as set forth in Title VII of the U.S. Code, which currently has a legal limit of 0.3%. So that's quickly summarizing the bill. Four primary components. And Mr. Chairman, if you allow it, I have someone who is much more eloquent than I on this topic. And I'd like to let her give some details, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Catherine, you want to go over a little bit, some other comments?
Certainly. I can tell you that, first of all, thank you for indulging us in hearing all three of our hemp bills. I do appreciate your attention there. And I also think that maybe I haven't shared this prior and should have, but we've been working on this package over the interim, and we have worked with hemp retailers, hemp wholesalers, medical marijuana companies, law enforcement, prosecutors, sheriffs. So, and they all have been supportive of the direction that we're trying to take the department. So I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. This bill is a little bit more restrictive than what we've seen prior. It's pretty straightforward. It's modeled. I would tell you that the first section where we talk about restricting advertising so that the packaging is not attractive to children, and that is modeled after the Florida law. I don't know if any of you guys have heard. They had an event they called Operation Candy Crush, and the Georgia Department of Agriculture moved through Florida, and they removed, I think, 7,000 products off of the shelves that were all products that were either considered attractive to children or look-alike products. And so what I'm going to actually do is I wish this were a little bit bigger, but I've got 2 pages I'd like to pass around. And when this flyer comes by, you can see that there's packaging for Nerds, Lifesavers, Skittles, Jolly Ranchers, that upon first inspection or to an unsophisticated reader such as a child, this would be potentially very confusing. I've got a couple of other samples here. I picked up this Rice Krispie, maybe it's Fruity Pebbles treat from a store over the interim. This particular treat has 300 milligrams of Delta 9 THC in it. On average, it takes about 10 to get someone high, and there are about 30 of those in here. And my child, who's 2, grabbed it off the counter and started trying to unwrap it, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed. Here are some gummies. These are actually HHC, which is a new up-and-coming intoxicant. But these offer watermelon rings, which are very similar to candies that you would see in stores right now. anyway, so the first section of the bill, we're outlawing what would be considered attractive to children or lookalike products. Beyond that, we're restricting advertising such that a store can't call itself a dispensary to help control confusion. As I know, there are some people in the community, in different communities, who will talk about a dispensary, and they're actually just talking about a shop that sells hemp products rather than going ahead and recognizing that, and they fail to recognize that it is not a low THC dispensary as we have provided for in law for medical marijuana in the state. There's another restriction in here for locations near retail stores. I just pulled this from the restrictions that we currently have in place in the alcohol code. This is not retroactive. In fact, it doesn't even go into place until July of this year. And so it would just prohibit stores locating within 1,000 feet from a school beginning in July of this year and moving forward. And then the last section, this is a little bit tricky, but what we've done is we are conforming the way that we look at Delta 9 THC concentrate in the state, and we are conforming that to what's already required by the feds. So in 7 CFR 990, there are clear instructions about how you calculate total THC. And that's the measurement that you use to determine whether or not something is hemp or marijuana. That's not been incorporated into our state code. And I think that there are some people who would like to be confused by that. But as we all know, we have a supremacy clause in our country. And if there is something passed by the feds, the states have to follow suit. We cannot override them. So we have this directive that has been established by the federal government, and we are simply conforming to that. But we're doing it in such a way that it's clear to the prosecutors what is and is not legal, and in hopes also that it'll be clear to any store, retailer, or consumer.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the work on this bill. And I really thank Commissioner Harper and you and others who really want to tackle this problem. I think we all really see several issues. We've got laws about consumer hemp, and it's just, we just need to make sure these products adhere to the law. And I know a lot of them have, these products are outside the legal limits, and trying to get a handle on that is very important, as well as our children, protecting them from these, some of these products that I consider to be dangerous. And so, thank you for wanting to tackle this. We've got some questions, if you stand by, from the committee. Chairman Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Cannon, for bringing this bill, much needed. My question on the if somebody violates this, what are the penalties for that? Is that in here?
I'm trying to remember which.
Or revoking their license, or what?
I apologize. I'm trying to remember what was established
no,
in the
person
second
said
bill versus this one. So if this bill passes along with the licensing bill,
that was my second. Is it covered in the licensing bill? That's what I wanted to make sure everybody saw that it's covered in the other bills.
Yes.
So the three-prong approach that we are taking.
That's right. So we would have the opportunity to pull any non-compliant or illegal product from the shelves to protect the consuming public. And then if we have repetitive problems with a licensee, we'll have the option to seek administrative action, criminal action, or revoke the license.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Chairman, I know we normally require 2 hearings on a bill, but I know this late time in the session, if the urgency of this is, I would love to make a motion if it be the will of the chairman at the proper time.
We'll take that. Well, it'll be up to the committee today what they want to do. So thank you for that offer. But we've got about 7 or 8 people in the audience who want to speak to this bill that we'll try to get to them. Got a couple more from the committee. Representative Carter.
Thank you. Okay, first I need clarity. I'm not a gummy person. So did I hear you say, or are you saying that gummies are sold in stores other than hemp stores?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
They're
Okay.
sold in gas stations, and they're sold. There's no restriction
man.
on where things are being sold currently.
Okay. And how will we enforce? Because this sounds like since they're in locations other than HEMP designated retail stores, how will the state of Georgia enforce this law or control what's happening?
So that's the current state that they're being sold in a number of places. So you may remember with our licensing bill, we'll require that you cannot sell these products without being a licensed retailer. And at that point, we will know, and we can go visit
Okay.
every year stores that are selling hemp product.
Okay, so that means they will no longer be sold in gas stations and convenience stores.
Oh, theoretically, if a gas station wanted to become a retail seller, they could.
Okay.
They would just have to be registered with the department.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think on those other bills, we set those licensing fees pretty low. I think, I can't recall.
There's a range based on volume, and I asked for them to be low.
Yeah.
For instances where we have a store that maybe just sells a handful of product, and that we would base all that on volume.
Okay. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for bringing this bill, Representative Cannon. My question is, will there be any education or awareness to any of the retailers who are currently selling that would not be able to sell anymore unless they have licensing? So like, how is the Department of Agriculture going to be able to get the word out to retailers such as gas stations that may be selling these products?
I think that's a great idea. One of the things that our commissioner has really started focusing on is making sure that we are communicating with the public, and we're making sure that they're informed of what the department is doing. And I think that it would be important for us to make sure that the public is aware as we start moving into phasing in to our new scheme.
Okay, so you're saying, just one little follow-up, Chairman, if you would. So you're saying that there will be an advertisement or education awareness campaign around this, centered around this?
If that's important to you, I think that's
Mhm.
definitely something that we can move forward with and discuss. It's not included in the bill,
Right.
though. That's just administrative practice.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Stinson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative, for your work on this legislation. But my question is kind of in line with what she just stated, but it's more relating to, and I'm just going to quickly share, I'll be very brief. I had a very unfortunate experience with these gummies. I was at a conference, and I was given a little pack and didn't realize that what they were, because it was just a pack with nothing, it didn't have a label on it. And I was at a conference and was given this, and I end up eating more than I needed to eat, and I had a very unpleasant experience. And I was at a funeral home conference actually, and I was given these things. So how would we regulate things like that? And when people are having access to these and at conferences, how would they know that there's a license now that they have to have in order to distribute these type of gummies? That's
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought your question was going one direction,
I'm
and
sorry.
then it took a turn.
I'm sorry.
So, if individuals are dispensing product that requires a license, then I think that they're acting outside the law, and we can't stop everyone.
Right.
who's
Yeah.
who's, we can't stop people who are buying alcohol and then giving it to kids.
Gotcha.
We're not going to be able to stop every actor, but even those that are not acting intentionally. So one of the things that we try to address in this bill is making sure that people aren't confused. If you see there's a pack of Skittles, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't eat 3. I eat the whole package, and so
Well, that's kind of what happened to me.
I'm so sorry. That sounds like it really changed your day.
My day, my night, my week.
Well, Representative, I think that's what this bill is about, making sure that it's packaged, making sure the strength is known by the consumer, to make sure the consumer knows what they're getting and the product abides by current law with the THC content and CDB, and also I think a real important bill. Let's hear from some folks in the audience. They came this morning. Appreciate all of y'all taking the time to come here and comment on this bill. Christina Flores, first on the list. Please come to the podium and tell us who you're with, and if you could keep it to under a couple minutes, be good. We've got several, and we got a limited amount of time.
Christina Flores, thank you everyone for being here today. This bill is very important. And I'm here speaking in opposition to the bill. I'm here with the Girl Plug. I am a small community organization that focus on education so people don't overeat cannabis and have a better understanding of how to consume cannabis medicinally. So overall, I'm a mother. So overall, I believe that this bill is well-intentioned. And it's really important to regulate hemp products. The proposed measures in this bill risk hampering business growth, which is my concern. It also is hindering cannabis progress. We're not even talking about marijuana laws. We're just talking about hemp. And Chairman, I understand that there's a lot of confusion around marijuana and whether it's dangerous or not. But I want to note that we all giggled when we heard that the chairman, excuse me, not the chairman, but the member over here overate cannabis. So we know that it's not deadly to consume too much cannabis. It's just really uncomfortable. So I want to go through, I have a bill analysis that I'm happy to share with everyone here. It's pretty comprehensive, and I think that it's important for everyone to take a look at. I'm emailing it to you as well. I have all your emails and your assistance as well. So some of the things that I'm concerned about is the over restrictive requirements with packaging. So the packaging requirements outlined in Section 5 impose significant restrictions on how consumable hemp products can be marketed and sold. By mandating specific packaging materials and design features, the bill adds unnecessary costs and barriers for businesses, particularly small-scale businesses who may already be struggling to afford compliant packaging. And I know that entrepreneurship is very important here in Atlanta and Georgia overall, so this is really important that we're not adding more costs to people who are already struggling to enter the business. Also, this is stifling innovation. Again, we're not even talking about marijuana, we are talking about hemp. And there are already federal regulations saying that hemp products cannot contain more than 3.5% THC. Now, you don't want to consume a whole package still. So even if the packaging says that it has 300 milligrams, it is on the consumer to know how to consume that product. 10 milligrams of cannabis or hemp-derived THC can give you the medicinal effects that are necessary. Over consuming a whole package will send you on an entirely different trip. So I would say that that onus is on the consumer to understand how to consume their medications. The packages are already pretty clear on how much is inside of those. I also want to say that there's implications for equity here. The stringent regulations outlined in the bill may disproportionately impact small businesses and entrepreneurs from marginalized communities. The financial and logistical challenges associated with compliance could further widen existing disparities within the cannabis industry, limiting opportunities for economic empowerment and social equity. And I know that as we're moving forward and having a beautiful and thriving hemp industry, we want to make sure that there's equality in that. And we're already seeing disproportionate outcomes within the hemp industry, and we don't want to further exacerbate those. I also want to speak to the advertising limitations. In Section 6, it also prohibits retail establishments from advertising or presenting themselves as dispensaries of low THC oil without a dispensing license. This restriction limits the ability of businesses to accurately inform customers about the products they offer and may create confusion amongst customers who are seeking hemp derived products. And we don't need more confusion. Even educated members of this committee are having trouble knowing how to consume cannabis safely. So we want to make sure that we are letting them know that we are serving a product that can have a intoxicating effect, even if you are consuming it medicinally. The strict measures outlined in Section 7 and 8 introduce strict enforcement measures, including the requirement for corrective action plans and revocation of licenses for negligent violators. While enforcement is necessary to ensure compliance with regulation, overly punitive measures could deter businesses from entering the hemp market and lead to the disproportionate penalization of small-scale producers. And again, we want to see a vibrant, competitive hemp market in Georgia. We want to see those tax dollars. We want to see that entrepreneurship is budding in Georgia and not being stifled. And then furthermore, the lack of
Is that-
clarity. Yep.
Go ahead. but
Okay.
Get to the end.
I can do that for you. So the lack of clarity in testing procedures outlined in Section 8, it revises testing procedures for Delta-9 THC concentrates, but lacks clarity on the specific methods to be used. Without clear guidelines on testing procedures, there's a risk of inconsistency and ambiguity in determining compliance with THC concentration limits, potentially leading to unfair penalties. And I will finish by saying that I do oppose this bill, and I hope that you will as well.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you
course.
coming this morning.
And do you want a copy of my assessment? I can hand it to one of.
You can see Hannah over
Hannah,
here.
great.
and,
Thank you.
What would maybe help you. Next, Stanley Atkins. Would you want to come speak? Okay. Okay, come to the podium, Mike, please. Just tell us who you are and if it's an organization you're with.
Good morning, members. My name's Omari Anderson, and I am the owner and CEO of the Best Dirty Lemonade, a hemp-derived lemonade company operating in the state of Georgia. And I vehemently oppose this bill as well. We have lemonades on the market at 10 milligrams. They have child-proof locking on them, child-proof lids. The problem that I have right now is there is a component to this bill that's telling me I now have to get new packaging that prevents light to get to the lemonades. And that's not a problem for my company as far as light touching the cannabinoids and degrading the integrity of my lemonade, but we just can't afford another roadblock to business. What we've seen here in Georgia is that we have a low oil THC program, and this is a great start, right? But we should be moving towards finding a way to have marginalized communities being able to find access and enter this economy at scale. What this bill is going to do is it's going to prevent operators like myself from moving forward. It's going to add other roadblocks to being a successful business owner here in Georgia. We just heard you talk about cottage kitchens and cottage businesses and supporting, small businesses. This is what we want to do. This bill, although well-intentioned, it does not achieve those goals. All right. I believe that we need to protect our kids. That's why we've gone in my business and taken measures to we have child-resistant locks on the top of our beverages, but we need to make sure that everybody is able to have access and we're not stifling small business. Thank you.
Good morning, esteemed committee and reps. Thank you for having us this morning. My name is Kyle Brown. I'm the owner and CEO of the Bookstore Gallery, located in Castleberry. I serve the community here in Atlanta. I'm all about providing a safe space and access to individuals who are 21 years and older. All of my products are third-party tested and validated. I have all my COAs and everything. Small business. I cannot compete with larger MSOs or MSOs who have larger capital than I do. I'm a small business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all about educating the people on the uses and benefits of hemp and CBD products. I think the bill does have good things and good intentions, but there are things that will challenge us as entrepreneurs. I serve veterans who do not need high THC. They are dealing with PTSD and want to have low THC products and CBD to help with their anxieties and their depression. And like I said, their PTSD. I have senior citizens who are now learning about CBD amongst other drugs that they're taking, but the CBD allows them to help with any type of inflammation and also with any arthritic pain. These are topicals. These are not things that they are smoking or drinking, right? Um, Again, I'm here about educating people. This bill does have good intentions, but it does impose a lot of increasing costs in running my business and educating others, and also changing packaging that I know is up to the state standard and to the federal regulation as well. So all I ask is for the committee just to review this bill. It's a lot of stuff in it, and we want to make sure that it's well balanced and it doesn't impede us on growing our business as an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Thank you for being here. Next, Yolanda Bennett is on our list. Is she available to come speak? And then we've got two more after you. Please introduce yourself, and you have the floor.
Hello, my name is Yolanda Bennett. I'm with the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. We are a 501c3 organization that has been providing assistance to medical cannabis patients here in Georgia to navigate through Georgia's low-dose THC program. So what we've been doing is assisting patients to find doctors, because the doctor's list is not available. It's not legal to produce, to go out. But anyway, let's go ahead and go with this bill. Basically, let's define dispensary. A dispensary is defined as a place that you prepare medicine. CBD is medicine. So that's why they should change the name to dispensary. And you talk about packaging. This is what I'm holding here. My medication from one of the dispensaries here in Georgia. You talk about packaging. Look how easy it is to open this. And not just that. Look at this. What does this look like to you? We're so focused on trying to cut out the CBD companies while we have the medical cannabis dispensaries out here serving products just like this without having it properly labeled. If you're concerned about children, if you lay this down on a piece of right here, looks like a Jolly Ranchers. Is it okay if I allow you all to look at my meds so that you can see that we're focusing, what it looks like is focusing on the people who've been keeping us afloat all this time. When we didn't have dispensaries, it was CBD companies that kept us afloat. It was CBD companies that provided us our medicine. It was CBD companies that continues to provide us our medication, because the only thing that we are able to get from the medical cannabis dispensaries is oil, topicals, and lozenges. However, there are many of us that need the hemp to smoke for instant pain relief. They're not thinking about the patients. I understand, okay, fine. We can give you the Skittles and stuff like that. That's fine. We can do that packaging. Just don't name it Skittles. But if you lay this down, this looks just like a Jolly Ranchers. If we're going to impose this much force upon the CBD companies, we need to do the same thing to these medical cannabis licensees around here, because it's not fair. Who is coming up with this bill? That's my question.
This bill doesn't address medical.
I understand.
We've got a whole nother commission that sees about that, and they're certainly capable of making their own rules and regulations.
Yep.
This is
CBD, but I was just using this as an example. We're focusing on the CBD companies that have been imposed with more rules.
So I'm trying to figure out exactly what part of this bill.
This part of the bill right here, I have an issue with. Number one, it's an overreach of regulations. As far as, while I understand the need for oversight in the hemp industry, this bill's stringent regulations such as strict testing procedures and arbitrary location restrictions for retail establishments go too far. They're too focused on these CBD stores that's been keeping us afloat. It seems like the medical cannabis companies that we're not discussing here today is getting ready to try to shut down and corner the CBD market that has been keeping a lot of people afloat. As far as the Delta 9 cutting it out, we need the Delta 9. Patients need the Delta 9. If they go ahead and cut the Delta 9 as far as the hemp-derived smokable plant, if they cut that, then where we would go? We only have this, we only have lozenges. We need instant pain relief. I'm talking about if you all cut out the hemp-derived THC as far as smokable products, no child's going to go up there and want to smoke that. It's not prepared for a child.
Okay. Well, thank you for these comments. We're short on time. Appreciate your time coming here. I think the committee heard your concerns. We've got one other, Kara Jackson. Yes, sir. You want to come to the mic? Okay. Please introduce yourself. Come on up here. You can come through there and go to the podium, Mike. And then we've got one other person after you.
Good morning.
And then
good morning.
we'll.
Good morning. My name is Lance Robertson. I'm former city councilman of the city of East Point. I'm also a CBD store owner, Holistic Health and Wellness, and I also represent the Hemp Minority Alliance. This bill did have good intentions, but it will create a financial hardship on the CBD industry right now. We are out here really helping and educating the community for those who need it. I do what we call puff and paint events, parties once a month for veterans who have PTSD. They come in, we have an art therapist there, we have a DJ there, and we try to help them get through the next day. We work with a lot of children who have autism. This holistic health and wellness area, in reference to our packaging, is overstretched because I have 5 products right now and ordering 4 more, which would be 9. I will have to go back and repackage all of my products right now to meet this particular guideline. This industry has a place for CBD. We are here educating and helping thousands of people on how to provide holistic health options. They just closed the hospital in the city of Atlanta. They just closed one in East Point. The community needs holistic options in the cannabinoid and the CBD industry. We are here to stay, and we want to make sure that you do not have an overstretch so we can continue to educate the people that vote for you, the people that support us. It's the same group of people that we have to have access for. Please reconsider this. I am opposing this bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Got a question from the committee. Yes, sir. Chairman Meeks, do you want to ask? Got a question?
Yes, sir. Just so that we're talking about apples and oranges here. Line 17 of the bill reads, attractive to children means any image, words, shapes, or colors that are designed or likely to appeal to children, including but not limited to cartoons, animals, toys, novel shapes, bright colors, yada, yada, yada. On through line 20. Are you telling us that your packaging is described in line 17 through 20 of this bill?
That is incorrect. It does not carry that. We have our packaging truly educates people and provided, but there's in reference to our labeling and our packaging for some of our products, we will have to go back and redo it. We are not marketing and doing anything for young adults. We are trying to market those who have the needs that are over legal age, have the needs to get the supplies and access to it. The packaging, I get it, but it is an overstretch because it will hurt those who have to repackage everything else in their particular product. I don't agree with those commercial type packagings at all, but I am opposed to the overstretch of this bill and how you're trying to regulate. And really, it will put hundreds and hundreds of businesses out, small Black and brown businesses. I also was executive director of the National Black and Latino Council. So a lot of people call me saying, what's going on? How can I continue to run my business? Because down here at the Gold Dome, they do not have our best interests at heart.
Mr.
Thank you,
Jackson,
Mr. Chairman.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Notwithstanding this bill, are all your products in your store presently legal?
Most definitely. And they are third party COE certified. We have been doing everything right. I've been in this industry since the beginning. My area is CBD City off of Cascade Heights. We are here to truly, and we work with children in the community. We make sure that they get their haircuts. We make sure that they get tutors. So we provide a community atmosphere for our store.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Dunn, Wesley Dunn, could you come to the podium? This is our last speaker, and then we'll talk to see if the committee's got any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I represent the Hemp Alliance. We have retail stores and growers as members, and I've spoken on the other bills. I'm trying not to repeat myself, but the handout that Catherine's passed around with the labeling is exactly what our organization is trying to prevent happening. Those are the products that get into children through gas stations. Our people are very much in favor of this bill. Our packaging complies with it. Mostly, they're not trial-proof bottles, so to speak now, but the manufacturers put that together. The bill doesn't take effect till October. And most of the existing product can probably be sold through that time, and then the suppliers will be furnishing the packaging in the future. But we strongly support the bill. We think it's reforms that will help the industry in the long run. The packaging over here, the Rice Krispie thing, stuff like that can very easily be consumed in whole rather than in the prescribed dosage. Most of our products come in bottles. They say very specifically that the unit is 1 per day. And the gentleman just spoke. He is, I'm sure, a wonderful and professional retailer. And that's the kind of people we need in the business. I do disagree that it's going to put people out of business because, again, it doesn't go into effect till October. And again, most of these products come from wholesalers who will be the ones that are packaging in the future. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. If not, I appreciate the time of the committee and I hope you will favorably pass the bill.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ms. Dunn. Any questions from the committee? Okay. Representative Carter, if you got a question.
Okay, thank you. It wasn't necessary for him. I kind of read through this and I heard you and I'm sympathetic to the business owners. But what I was understanding with this legislation is that we were trying to address the lookalike products. And the intent seemed to want to protect the least of those that can make those decisions, like our kids. And again, you just educated me that you can buy these in regular stores. So is there a way to address some of the concerns that have just been brought to us from the businesses that are operating that are not necessarily in the stream of the lookalike products? Because a lot of times we do pass legislation, there are unintended consequences we have to come back and fix. So is there anything that's been shared that we can address now? Because I do believe that this is an issue that we need to move some legislation on, but at the same time, how do we not get the businesses caught up like what we're hearing today? Because I'm with you. Again, I'm not a gummy person, but I want to be able to make sure we making a good decision here today.
Thank you for the question. I think I would like to start my remarks with just highlighting that of the concerns that were voiced, not all of them are applicable to this law, right? So beyond that, it was said that this law is, or that this bill is restrictive, and that's accurate. It's restrictive. It's meant to be. currently, you guys have probably all heard the adage that the law follows, it never leads. And so in this instance, we have an emerging market that's been completely unrestricted. And our intention is to put some regulation on it. I understand that some of the repackaging expenses are something to think about. There's already a delayed effective date, but that probably would be a conversation that we're definitely willing to have with some of the speakers moving forward. But as far as it being over restrictive and stifling, this is pretty narrowly defined. If if you can't compete, it means essentially, according to this bill, that you're selling product that's attractive to kids, or you're selling product that's outside the legal limit, or you want to advertise as a low THC dispensary. And so I think some of the comments that maybe weren't tailored specifically to those restrictions, because this is very narrow. But we are very much interested in restricting access to children.
One question with what you just said. So is it a possibility, Chairman, or to maybe extend the effective date? To your point, these retailers that have products, first of all, put something in place to make sure the kids aren't getting them in time to relieve themselves of these products and repackage.
Well, I think we'd have to split it between two things, right? Like there may be like the packaging that we saw displayed here. I don't know that would necessarily qualify as attractive to children. So that's not problematic. That could probably be pushed out. However, the things that are purposefully being put out there for children, I think we probably shouldn't extend the effective date on that. So it's probably something we would have to work through later.
Okay, I think we've discussed this bill pretty thoroughly, and thank you, Representative Cannon, for bringing this bill. Thank you, Ms. Russell, for your work on this hemp bill and the others that really go along with it, and many other Representative Corbett and others who have worked through the years on these bills. And the author of the bill would like to, if you could go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you just Google, children overdose on THC gummies, you'll find all kind of news stories. Just 5 years, the number of small children in the U.S. exposed to cannabis after accidentally eating an edible rose 1,300%, a new study says. 2-year-old allegedly overdoses on THC gummies, police say. This is just a quick Google. Virginia mother pleads guilty in 4-year-old son's death from THC gummies. More children than ever are overdosing on marijuana edibles, report from Connecticut. So just Google that. You'll see enough news sources to read some more info yourself on it.
Okay, I've got 9:40. We've got a session coming up. It's crossover week, and we can come back in here. I think we've got room reservations on Wednesday, and if y'all would like to come at 7 a.m., you certainly are welcome to. Or we can try to come. Trying to make a decision here today. Do I hear any motion from the committee? I've got a motion. Do I hear a second? I've got a couple other questions from the committee. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Chairman. So, just quickly, because I know time is of the essence, I'm just still back at that same question. And we've heard from business owners today, and we know that we've been carrying this title, the #1 place to do business. And we've heard some of our business owners saying how it would directly affect them in packaging and the monies that they would have to put out to repackage. I'm still at the issue of relating that back to the business owners about them having to repackage or spend additional monies. I understand the bill. I support the bill in essence of what it's saying, of trying to curtail an issue with children, but it's inadvertently affecting another portion or segment of CBD business owners at the same time.
Representative Thomas, this bill is also, remember, going to go over to the Senate, and where it's going, I'm sure going to have lots of Senate input into it. And we can certainly, I know the department can certainly work with them and others as this makes through the process. So, Catherine, you want to speak to that question though?
Oh, I will. Is it okay? Is it appropriate? Is it appropriate for me to be okay?
Yes,
I just wasn't sure where our procedural posture was. So, firstly, the effective date right now for packaging is in October. So, any product that's not sold between now and October would have to be addressed. We just had conversations about potentially extending that date. So, products shouldn't have to be repackaged unless it's sitting on the shelf for an extended period. Does that make sense?
It does, but, and Chairman, I take your comments that we'll do some work on this in the Senate. Thank you.
Be happy to.
Representative Carter, you got another question?
Well, yeah, because your first question was whether before someone moved to make the motion meeting Wednesday. So let me just go on record. I would love to support this bill, but if we vote right now, I'm going to have to vote no. But if we meet Wednesday, and truly, I do not want to come here at 7 a.m. in the morning, but I will. But that gives us another day actually another 2 days to really get an understanding how it's really affecting the folk. And if this bill doesn't affect the people that are in the room, that gives us a chance to really talk to them. Because I want to be able to vote yes today, but if we vote right now, I'm gonna have to vote no. And I'd rather sacrifice and come here Wednesday morning, Jesus, at 7 a.m. And give us a chance to work through this. So that was just my comment on where we are right now.
Okay, thank you. I do want you to vote yes on this bill, and but I do have a motion. I do have a second. So what, Representative?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So what is our options? If we don't come Wednesday at 7, what other options do we have to go ahead and vote for this today?
That's the motion, is to vote it today. I got a motion second to do that. I really don't Representative Carter, I really don't, what changes would you want to the bill? I mean, I'm trying to figure that out.
I can't answer that for you today because my concern is the concern of the business owners that have come and shared some things, and and if what I just heard from the testimony, what their concerns are isn't really in this bill, but another day or two to talk to them, to have them to understand what's really in this bill, and if there's something in here that does affect them, then that gives us a chance to hear that. Now, if we had heard their testimony last week, then we could address it over the weekend and we'd be ready to vote today.
I kind of
Okay. We're out of time, and I think we'll come back Wednesday and vote this bill. Look for a notice from me for this bill, and we'll take this up on Wednesday. Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, you're still here. Well, then please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.